prana, becoming enlightened together, doing another daily read. I apologize, I've been really slow and remiss. Like I said, I take care of somebody who's infirmed, and I've also had my own recent health scare, and I got a catheter in me right now, which is very uncomfortable if you've never had one. So, I'm trying my best, you guys, but it's just, I know God gives the most to his most powerful and courageous soldiers, man, but I feel sometimes so overwhelmed. It just never ends for me. I know that the end is coming, and I'm trying to encourage others to believe that as well, because I truly do believe that, but it is not always easy to keep in your bosom as close as you would like, especially when you're going through very trying times and you're typically doing it alone. Okay, and that's not to gain any kind of sympathy or sorrow or anything like that. I just want to share with people, truth, reality, who I really am, good, bad, and different. So you know who I am. But this reading deals with, again, a perspective of looking at it from the karmics point of view. They are going through it. They are starting to go through a tremendous amount of very, very difficult times. And some of those in question, or those affiliated with these people, maybe third parties, for example, may be actually, let's just say they have already been spiritually judged, and, the call for their end, so to speak, has already been given. And I'll get to that in a minute. And part of what their karma is, because it's very specific here that bad karma is part of this reading. So for those who are going through that bad karma, they are going to witness you, whoever you are, collective, rising, being successful, wealthy, all of those types of things, while they slip into mediocrity. Everything that they wanted for you, they're getting, and then some. I'll just leave it at that. Ancestors are not playing, the gods are not playing, the Most High is not playing, Sophia is not playing, whoever it is, whoever name you want to put there, Krishna, Jiva, it doesn't matter. In the end, we're still talking about the same supreme being. There is no explanation that you could possibly come up with any known language to describe something that encompasses all that exists. Every dimensionality of that, from the largest of the large to the smallest of the small. That's what we're talking about. How do you put words to describe something like that? You can't. Okay? Alright. I digress. What is the present energy? Well, did I even say what the overall weekly energy was? It's Othala. I apologize. I got at a tangent. Othala in the reverse, actually. I can't even see that. I guess because I didn't have it facing the right way. So it looks like a diamond with the legs, in this case, facing up like rabbit ears. Simply because it's in the reverse. It talks about ordinarily things such as your lineage, your ancestry, your heritage, possible inheritances, and inherited goods and wealth, and even spiritual gifts, for example, all those types of things. But in the reverse, it's pretty bleak, and it talks about frustration and recklessness, legal problems of every kind. We're talking about the karmic. That's what they're going through, or will be very soon. Every imaginable hassle, a lack of order in their life, maybe even a sense of feeling in something that seems totalitarian in nature. Maybe they feel as though they're a slave, because slavery is also part of this. Poverty and homelessness, very bad karma, is what this rune in the reverse stands for. It also speaks about things of a racial issue in terms of prejudiceness, clannishness, and those things which bind one to another, or you're bound, something you're bound to. whether it's an agency, a society, a group, whatever. Okay. Now that's the overall encompassing energy of the week. So this whole week we're talking about what the karmic is going through. And in this particular case, what they're going to be seeing you also going through at the same time. Now the present energy is also in reverse, and it's manas. Manas in the reverse talks about selfishness, somebody who's uninvolved. Very possibly they've got an avoidant attachment personality disorder of some kind. So victimism, they're experts at, making themselves self-victims, to their own problems. Egoism, sometimes we're talking to the extreme. So, talks about somebody who's typically feeling lonely and depressed. They're really seeing a sense of their own mortality at this point, but also somebody who's blind and self-delusional. Somebody who's cunning and sly, a manipulator, somebody who's crafty and calculated. And this rune also in the reverse states you can expect no help now. I mean, that's a horrible message to have to convey, but the runes is what the rune is. And I've got these interpretations from a number of sources. So, they could mean more things to some people, some writers, and, more things perhaps different, personality or what have you, trait, attribute, that others don't really pick up. So, I mean, all readers have a slightly different slant on a lot of the meanings of these runes, okay? So I've taken a good portion of a lot of them and tried to put them together, even though sometimes they don't always seem like they are speaking of the same types of things, and they're not. In concept and in energy, they are speaking about certain behaviors or attitudes or actions, for that matter. In some cases, inaction. And you put all that together and, you can determine a storyline from that. So again, we're looking at through the karmic's eyes. These are the things that they themselves are going through. I mean, they probably don't even know how lost they are at this moment. And we're going to get to that in a minute. Our past energy, which is the energy I pulled on Sunday for today, which is Tuesday, is that of Sawillo in the reverse. Now, Sawillo is also the rune we got for our help and advice in the upright. So I'll get to that in a minute, why it's significant in those differences. But since we're looking at it from the karmic's eyes, again, we're talking about here describing somebody who is very self-centered, has false goals, and gives and receives bad counsel, has a false sense of success. In other words, maybe they're stealing other people's work, for example, that kind of a thing. They're not being, authentic in any way. So they're very gullible as well. They think they can get away with these things. Maybe they have for quite some time. They have a loss of their own goals. They are basically self-destructing, or they will be very, very soon. This rune also tells us in terms of holy retribution and justice. It talks about a casting down of vanity and then the wrath of God. That is the energy of what this past is encompassed. Past energy for today. Now, our obstacles and challenges are the things that they're going to see, basically, that are positive, that you are going to experience this with. In this case, is Urus. I had this tattooed on my chest. Now, Urus is the sign of the Arak, or the ancient ox or bull in, parts of Europe that was hunted to extinction 500 years ago or thereabouts. And it represented strength and health and vitality, tenacity and courage. It represented all that you could say an untamed and super powerful beast encompasses, so to speak. That's the power of Urus, and that's what they're going to see you in while they're experiencing all of their downs. The wheel of fortune has flipped in you 180 degrees. If you're familiar with tarot at all. That basically tells you how those who have been on the top for some time are now going to experience what you've been at all of this time. Where you've been down here, or you've always felt like you could never get ahead because of the way things are and so on, you are now going to be up here. You are not going to have those concerns anymore. Now we're going to have the power collectively to do good in this world, while the people before us have done nothing but harm. Harming our young ones, harming our planet, harming every aspect of, who we are, masculinity, femininity, all of those things, which makes us all so wonderful, beautiful, in fact. So, in fact, our differences makes us unique and beautiful. We shouldn't fear that. We should embrace it. I would like to savor every flavor. I mean, that's what I feel, not to be perverted or anything like that, but I'm just saying that if you are of a mindset, you are free, and you find others who are also of a free spirit, and you find them very appealing and things of that nature, and they you, I don't find it terribly wrong to want to experience something that could be very nice, one with the other person. There's no reason not to, as long as you're responsible, as long as you're both in agreement and you're both feeling it. I don't believe that there's anything wrong with that. But there has to be responsibility, and that's, of course, where all the debate comes in. Who, at what time, how old, all of those types of questions. So, we don't want to get too much into that. Alright, so, past energy and our present energy. All extremely descriptive of the karmic individuals and their third parties. Now, some of their third parties are doing a lot of pretty nasty stuff here, it looks like, and they are going to experience everything that they wanted for you. Now, this other person in your life who wants to come back, that doesn't necessarily mean that they themselves have changed or that they are completely innocent. Nothing here indicates any of that, if that's the case. What we're talking about here is they want to paint the picture, perhaps, that they were less involved with some of the things that were happening behind the scenes than they in fact really were. Not only that, but we can see through this energy as well that as they are themselves going through domestic issues, not just family issues, although that could also be part of that, because what we see in terms of our future outcome, we have the rune Solillo. I'm sorry, not Solillo, but Berkana in the reversal. Now, Berkana in the upright talks about the goddess Berchta, who's like the great mother, like Mother Nature, so to speak, and she helps do other things as well. She protects and guides in the afterlife, young and the females, and so on and so forth. And in a lot of ways, the Viking culture, at least from what we think we know of it, was very, very not only sympathetic, I say very almost equal with men and women. And by that I mean sometimes women fought on the battlefield too. Not a lot of evidence for that, but there is some. That women were allowed to own property. They could divorce. They had a lot of powers that most of their equals in Europe were not experiencing. So they're not the mindless barbarians that they're painted out to be by any stretch of the imagination. So I give kudos to all of those who have any of that blood in them. Okay? And I may only have a scarce amount, honestly. I mean, I do have, Swedish and Norwegian, and I do have all the other areas, Germanic, Scottish, English, Irish, and again, all of Italy, Greece, Eastern Mediterranean, Albanian. I have everything that Europe is, basically. Even possibly some Native American, but not 100% sure. Okay? So, I have Viking in me. Wherever they were, my blood is. Yeah? And even those who resisted them, sometimes successfully. For example, those of both Scottish and Irish heritage in particular. Yeah. So let's talk about what we have here. So again, with Berkana and the reversal, we have all the things that I was referring to in terms of domestic issues. And this is the future outcome for our karmic and their particular parties. And I say that because they're not just having an affair with this third party unbeknownst to you, or at least unannounced to you. They were not honest with you. They hid these things from you. But they're also with other people, and so is the person they're with. And they're about to find that out very, very soon. So you put all this negative energy together, they're going to be going through their own hell to pay back in terms of the bad karma that they put out for other people, including you yourself. And you're going to witness a certain amount of it. How much, I don't know, but you are going to see some of it. So that's really what this reading is all about, you guys. It's just to tell us, one, that the karmics are actually being paid. They're going to be held accountable for all that they have done. So for those of you out there who maybe are hoping to see some form of justice in your life, perhaps it's been a very long haul for you. Maybe it's been 15, 20 years for you too. I don't know. It's been that long for me, at least. Maybe the whole of my life, in fact. But I have no way of proving that. Not yet, anyways. So, I mean, that could be your case as well. Alright, so I wish these readings for this particular comeback month were a little bit more, in the affirmative, positive, and uplifting. I truly wish to be able to deliver those types of messages, but when you're delivering what you're told to deliver versus what it is that you want to deliver, then you're doing a good service. You're actually doing what you are here to do. And again, this is why I don't mix mammon with, any form of spirituality that I practice. I mean, to each their own, and I'm not judging you if you do. The workman is also worthy of whatever it is that they are paid for or they're hired. I agree with that as well. I just don't want to have that as a possible temptation to, let's just say, forego my particular moral compass in any way. And it's been the downfall of so many good men and women, for that matter, over the ages. I just want to eliminate one more possibility as a perfect, it's kind of an offensive maneuver, offered in a defensive fashion to protect myself. That's all. Anyway, I'm rambling on. I've been smoking a lot of weed to deal with all the pain and all that kind of stuff. So, I wish you all well. And if anybody out there needs to talk, or they have something going on, and I don't know, maybe they want me to pull a few runes for them, or maybe a couple tarot cards, or just listen to them. Whatever the case may be, just hit me up and let me know. Okay, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be of some service while I'm here. Okay, I'm here to rattle the cage, but I'm also here to help the collective. So, alright, so God bless. Victory to everybody out there, and someday we will all meet in Valhalla. Take care. God bless.